very welcome to my channel. Today we're going to teach you how to make the perfect omelette. So some of you out there already know how to do this, but this is purely for those of us who don't have the confidence and who has struggled in the past. So I will show you two easy ways of doing omelettes today. We're going to make one with a protein day filling and another one with a protein and vegetable filling. So if you would like to learn with us today, keep watching. Also remember to subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see our future videos. Alright, so let's start by looking at the protein omelette, So you can have different fillings on your protein day. Let's have a look at the ingredients here. So one of my favorites on a protein day, once a week I treat myself to a couple of slices of smoked salmon. On this plate we've got a little bit more than 2 slices. Then another option you could have is some ham, very low fat ham. Try to get something that is at least 1 or 2% fat or fat free. The other ingredient I've got here that you might not have seen before, but we do get it in Bulgaria. It is venison and it's slightly cured, so it's slightly dry and it's really lovely. It's slightly salty and you only need a tiny bit of it. So for one person, tablespoonful of venison is plenty and it's totally fat free. Over here I've got a bowl of fat-free grated cheese. You can have a small amount of cheese in your omelette. And then of course the star of the show is our eggs. So on your protein day you can have any of these fillings. You could also slice up some crab sticks or seafood sticks if you prefer. You could also use some mussels if that's something you would like to put, or some prawns. So the sky is the limit really with fillings for your omelette. Then on the other side of the table here I'll show you. We've got some lovely baby spinach I've just picked in the garden, and I've got some button mushrooms. These mushrooms don't have a strong flavor. You might want to use the chestnut button mushrooms or even some wild mushrooms if you like a lot stronger flavor. And then over here, another idea, you've got some cherry tomatoes. You can add that on your vegetable day, or a few olives. And with all your omelettes, you're allowed to use some fresh herbs. Even on your protein day, you can use a tiny little bit of spring onion, just to give it a little bit of crunch and freshness. So let's start then with one of our protein omelettes. First of all, you're going to be needing 2 eggs. So we'll crack the eggs into a bowl. Just like that. And then you need a little bit of liquid. Now it's completely up to you whether you would like to use water or a bit of your fat-free milk. In here I've got 3 tablespoons of water, so we'll just add that. And then we're going to whisk it a little. You can use a fork or a small whisk, and it doesn't need to be extremely fluffy. All what we're trying to do is we're mixing that liquid into the egg, and we're breaking up the yolks and incorporating the whites. So probably just a minute of light whisking. Doesn't have to be very energetic. So that would be totally fine. Then I'm going to just show you the omelette pan. We have 2 different pans here today, so depending on whether you're making the omelette for 1 person or 2 people, the pan size is obviously something you'd like to think about. And I'm going to show you 2 different styles of omelette. The first one we're going to be doing is just simply going to be a folded omelette, but it's not as light and fluffy as a souffle omelette. So over the years, I've made thousands of omelettes. I've been a professional chef for nearly 30 years. So I can honestly say I've tried every single method in the book to make an omelette. So let's go to the cooker and see if we can just get this started. So I've got 2 pans here. The first one here is much larger. You can see that is a non-stick pan, and this will be good if you want to make a nice open pan omelette, especially for 2 or 3 people or even up to 4 people. So we'll use this in the next omelette. The other one is my favorite pan. I use it nearly every day. Also again a non-stick pan, and it's got a slightly smaller circumference. So put the gas on medium heat, not too hot. We'll put a small drop of oil in, 1 milliliter of oil, not much more. And then what I do with a wooden spatula or with a non-stick spatula, I spread the oil in the pan. Before it gets too hot, you can wipe the excess oil with a paper towel, because in the Dukan book they recommend only 1/8 of a teaspoon of oil when you are cooking. So we're going to wait till the pan is a little bit warm. This is very, very important, not to pour the egg into a cold pan. The second thing I use that not everybody uses is a lid. I always use a lid for my omelettes. I just feel it speeds up the cooking process a little bit without the omelette burning. So we're just giving that a few seconds. You can always test the pan by just pouring a tiny bit of egg in the pan to see what it does. If it starts bubbling, it's ready. So I pour all the egg in one go, and I just swivel the pan a little bit, make sure it gets to all the edges. And the next step, very important, turn the pan right down to its lowest setting. I put the lid on straight away, and now it's basically going to steam. So the omelette we're doing here is the protein day omelette. So now you can have a look at your fillings. If you're going to be using ham or smoked salmon, you can cut that in smaller bite-sized pieces, and you can sprinkle that on your omelette just before it's ready. The same with the venison, it doesn't need cooking. So today we'll do venison and a bit of fat-free cheese, so we'll put that on. If you have a look at the omelette now, it's kind of half cooked. You can swirl the pan, or what you could do is you can gently ease the edges and pour the liquid along the sides. So when you've reached this stage, you can add your fillings, especially if you want to add a little bit of cheese. I'm using roughly 1.5 tablespoons here of the venison, and the same with the mozzarella. You can also use a tiny bit of Parmesan cheese instead, which has got a bit stronger flavor, but it's still quite low in fat, and it is allowed. So we put the lid back on, and now we can slice up a few spring onions. While that is cooking, just slicing some onions. Important not to use too many onions on your protein days, but you are allowed 1 tablespoon of finely diced onion. There we go. Let's have a look now. You can see the omelette is nearly done. It's got a tiny bit of dampness in the middle. We put our spring onions on. Beautiful color. There we go. Put the lid back on. Probably another 10-15 seconds, and that will be ready. You will notice I've put no salt in the omelette at all, because the venison is slightly salty. And we are trying to cook with as little as possible salt on this diet. I'll just give that a couple of seconds, and then we'll have a look. Stay. Let's see what it looks like now. Our omelette is ready now. It can be slightly soft. If you don't like that, you can leave it on a few more seconds. And now what I'm doing, I'm just gently loosening the sides. You might not have to do this if your pan is brand new, but my pan has been used for quite some time. And what I'm doing, I'm just rolling the omelette. Easy way to get it out of the pan is bring your plate really close and just roll it. And there we go. Here we have our protein day omelette. Now you can serve your omelette with 2 slices of homemade Dukan bread. In the previous video, I've shown you how to make the bread. So here we are. You can use it fresh as it is, or you can of course toast it. When you toast it, you need to toast it slightly longer than regular bread because it's a very moist bread. If you want it crispy, I suggest to put it through the toaster twice on a medium to high setting. Now, what can we spread on our bread? Obviously not butter or margarine. So I've got a bit of quark here, and that is what I use to spread on the toast. We simply half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of quark. This is 0.2% fat, so we don't have to feel guilty about it. You can have it even thicker than that. So there we go. On our protein day, omelette with venison, low-fat cheese and spring onion. Thank you very much for watching. We are going to continue in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to show you how to do an open plan vegetable day omelette. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the second part of our video today. We are making omelettes today, so it's breakfast time, but you could have these omelettes even for lunch or for dinner, any time of the day. I have an omelette nearly every day, and I find that is the best for me to have them in the mornings. Alright, so now we're going to do one that is suitable for your vegetable days. So you still have your protein from the eggs and the cheese, but the filling is a vegetable filling. The one we're doing this morning is a spinach and mushroom filling. All right, so let's have a look at the ingredients then. So I've got here 3 large eggs because I'm going to make this omelette for 2 people. You can of course use 2 eggs or 1.5. You could also use 1 whole egg and 1 egg white. It's all up to you. As long as you don't have cholesterol problems, you can have your 2 eggs every day. Then the liquid we're going to be using is 3 tablespoons of milk. You can use a slightly bit more than liquid than that if you want. And then our filling is going to be 4 large button mushrooms that I've already sliced up. And we have some baby spinach here from the garden. I'm just going to slice that very roughly. And we have a bit of fat-free cheese. The other thing that you can add to your vegetable omelettes is some nice fresh herbs. Over here we've got a bit of dill. We can put some dill in our omelette this morning. You can put some tomatoes, some olives. And also what is lovely in an omelette is some strips of sweet peppers. So if you're going to be using your peppers, I would suggest you cook them for a couple of minutes before you add your egg mixture. We're going to be doing exactly the same with our spinach and mushrooms. We're going to cook them slightly and then we're going to add our egg mixture. So let's get cracking then. Let's get ourselves a mixing bowl. You can crack the eggs into the bowl. These are some fresh eggs from our back garden, our chickens. Free range for me is absolutely the best. Then the milk goes in there, and at this point you can add some spices if you like. I'm going to add a little bit of dill here. I don't put any salt into my omelettes, just trying to cut down on salt. Then with a whisk, you can just break up the egg yolks and get the liquid incorporated. I'm not making a very fluffy souffle omelette, so you don't need to get your electric mixer out, but you can of course do that if you prefer a fluffy omelette. Just a couple of seconds till there's no obvious large blobs of egg white. So there we go. Now I'm going to slice up a little bit of spinach. It's literally a large handful of spinach. You can of course use a bit more if you like, but I find this is plenty for 2 people. Rough pieces, roughly 1 centimeter strips. You can also leave it whole if you prefer. I like to slice mine up a little bit. Here we go. This is baby spinach. It's not very strong in flavor. You could of course use a bit of kale if you prefer. Slightly stronger flavor. So here we go. We've got our mushrooms and our spinach. We've got our egg ready, and now we will go to the cooker to cook the omelette. There we go. So the pan I've got here is quite large in diameter. If I have to guess, probably about 12 inches at the top. It's a non-stick pan. We're going to switch the gas on a medium heat, not too hot. In this bowl, I've got about 2 milliliters of oil, tiny bit of oil. Again, you can just move the oil around with a spatula, or you can just take a little piece of paper and wipe it around the pan. You could also use a spray, a non-stick spray. Here we go. So we're just going to heat the pan up so it's nice and warm, but not too hot. Very important, because we don't want the omelette to burn. So first we're going to just fry these mushrooms, just to give them a little bit of color. A medium heat is fine for that. This might take a little while. Give yourself a few minutes. Now, because we're using very little fat, you might find that the pan looks a bit dry. And if you think it needs it, you can always add a little bit of water. Small amount of warm water. And you can caramelize any kind of vegetables this way by just using a little bit of water. You'll literally cook the vegetables till the liquid has evaporated. So we'll add a bit of water. Here we go. It's literally a tablespoon of water. At this stage, you can turn the temperature up slightly. You can hear it sizzling. Starting to color now. There we go. So you can cook the mushrooms a little bit longer. I like my mushrooms slightly undercooked. Let's just have a look here. Going to shake the pan a bit. There we go. If you find that hard, you can just stir it. There we go. And leave it a bit longer. Starting to color now. Another shake. Here we go. You can see the mushrooms are starting to get slightly brown. There we go. At this point, I think we are ready to add our spinach now. We're literally just going to wilt the spinach. The spinach doesn't need long. I'm adding another couple of spoonfuls of water. And then the spinach goes in the pan. Move it about a bit. It literally just takes a few seconds, and we're just waiting for that water to evaporate. Brilliant, so your filling is ready now. What I do is I remove the filling from the pan. You can of course leave the filling in the pan and pour the egg over it, but I find when you do it that way, sometimes the filling burns and the egg doesn't cook. Now I'm going to add a tiny drop of oil once again. We're going to pour most of that oil out again. Turning down the heat, don't want it too hot. You can hear the oil bubbling. Just leave the pan to cool slightly, mopping up all the excess oil. There we go. So now the pan is already warm. We've just had the filling in there. Going to pour our egg mixture in. You can hear it sizzling, so we know it's warm enough. At this stage, I'm going to put this lid on, and we're going to leave it for at least 2 minutes, and then we're going to add our filling. So we are back now. That was a couple of minutes, depending on your cooker, of course. You can see there's still a slight bit of moistness here. It's not 100% cooked. So this is exactly the time when I put my filling on. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread the filling equally. The style of this omelette is an open pan, or a frittata, or pizza style if you like. So we're not going to be folding this omelette. And I've got a little bit of cheese here. You can also add a little bit of chili if you like a bit of spiciness at this point. Now once the cheese is on, I literally just give it a few seconds for the cheese to melt, and then we're going to serve this. I've put some bread in the toaster, Dukan bread of course, so that you can see how the toast looks with our omelette. I hope you're getting hungry. And just have a look what it looks like now. The cheese has melted. I can switch it off now, and I can show you the base of it's nice and golden. So it's really important to keep the heat low. Now you can divide this omelette while it's still in the pan. I've made this for 2 people, but you could quite easily portion it into quarters, or even into 6 if you like. Sometimes it's easier to get it out of the pan by just quartering it. So we'll go and serve this now. So here's the 1/4, which is still a decent portion. Here we go, other one. And now we can try and get this in one piece. There we go. So here we are, mushroom and spinach omelette. You can serve this now with some fresh bread if you like. Here we go. You can put a little bit of cream cheese spread on it. Or what I like with my vegetarian mornings, I put a little bit of lutenica. The Bulgarian viewers knows this very well. And the lutenica is a roast pepper and tomato spread. This one is homemade. And later this year, we will show you how we make this spread. Let me get the toast. Here we go, nice and crispy. So instead of having any cream cheese or any fatty spreads, I put a nice big dollop of pepper spread, lutenica, on the toast. You can of course grate a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top if you like, or some freshly ground black pepper. And there we are, 2 omelettes done, open pan style and folded, and it literally only took 2 or 3 minutes to make these omelettes. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and to like and share our videos. And the next video that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you how to make some chocolate and goji berry muffins. And we will definitely show you how you can eat those for your breakfast, served with some lovely creamy skyr or yogurt. It's one of my favorites. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.